In the first breath of morning, the rainforest exhales mist. Light threads through 1,000 leaves, and from the green, a shadow detaches. A great bird with black and white wings and a bill like carved ivory. The air thrums with the sound of its passage, deep, steady whooshes that announce its arrival before the eye can find it. This is the oriental pied hornbill, a storyteller of the canopy, a keeper of seeds, and one of the jungle's most enduring companions. Look closely, and you'll see the signature of its lineage, a long, pale bill crowned by a hollow casque. It is not a weapon, nor a pantry. It is a resonator, a living soundbox that gives the hornbill's calls their carrying power and strengthens a bill made for plucking fruit and prying bark. The plumage is crisp contrast, glossy black trimmed by clean white along the belly, lower tail and wing edges. Males are typically larger with heavier casques. Females, more compact, every bit as steadfast. They move like old friends in a crowded city of trees, trusting the same routes, returning to the same perches, bonded to one another for years. Their home is the humid breadth of South and Southeast Asia, wherever forest meets light. They haunt river corridors and mangrove edges, trek the margins of primary forest, and slip into secondary growth, where new fruiting trees take hold. In the fragmented mosaics that humans leave behind, the hornbill endures, commuting over fields to reach a lone fig towering above a village, or to an ancient emergent that still holds a secret hollow in its trunk. When the day ripens, the hornbill's hunger is for fruit. Figs are a favorite, tiny suns that swell and blush in clusters, each one packed with sugars and seeds. A hornbill takes a fig delicately, tosses it backward with a practiced snap of the head, and swallows it whole, seeds and all. The motion is swift and elegant, like a magician making a coin vanish. Between feasts, the bird is an opportunist, a grasshopper snatched in mid-air, a beetle pried from rotting wood, a small lizard plucked from a sunlit branch. Protein seasons a diet dominated by fruit, and the variety keeps a pair's energy burning through the long, warm hours. Their flight is unmistakable, laboring, powerful wing beats, then a smooth, confident glide, as if they had found an invisible road in the air. Each flap seems to bend the atmosphere, the audible thud of feathers marking their progress across the forest gap. Even when the hornbill disappears behind a high green wall, the jungle still hears them coming and knows they have passed. Communication is a lifeline in a forest of distances. The hornbill's voice is a carrying laugh, a nasal, cackling call that ricochets off bark and leaf. The casque gives the sound its shape and reach. Pairs keep in touch in duet, checking in from neighboring perches, while the young proclaim their hungers in smaller, rapping cries. In the evenings, when the heat drains from the canopy and the sky goes bronze, their calls become punctuation marks in a long sentence spoken by the forest itself. Hidden inside this robust bird is a ritual both tender and astonishing. When the rains are right and fruit is plentiful, a bonded pair searches for a tree with a hollow heart, a natural cavity high above the ground. The female slips inside, and together they begin to close the door. Using mud from the forest floor, chewed fruit pulp, and even droppings as mortar, they seal the entrance from within until only a narrow slit remains. The world outside fades to a thin band of light. Inside, in that quiet dark, the female lays her eggs, usually 2, sometimes 3, and begins the ultimate act of parental faith. She molts her flight feathers while she broods. For weeks that stretch into months, she cannot fly. She trusts the tree, the slit of light, and the partner at the door. The male becomes a courier of life. He ranges across the canopy to feeding trees, his crop filling with figs and berries, his beak sometimes holding a skittering insect. Hour after hour he returns, landing near the cavity, passing each morsel through the narrow opening with delicate precision. He feeds the female first, and then, as the eggs hatch, the chicks beyond her. The forest turns and turns, storms pass, the sun returns, cicadas rise and fade, and still he returns. It is patience made visible, devotion measured in wing beats. When the chicks grow strong and the female's new feathers stiffen, the sealed doorway begins to crack. Sometimes the mother breaks out first, returning to the world of air with a burst of light and dust. Sometimes she and the chicks emerge together, a tumble of new feathers blinking against the brightness. The first flight is short and clumsy, a practice of balance and faith. But the green world is generous. Branches cradle, leaves soften. Soon the family is ranging again, braided by calls only they recognize. Not every day is generous. The canopy listens with sharp ears and hungry eyes. What the hornbill takes, it gives back tenfold. By swallowing fruits whole and moving across great distances, it becomes the forest's courier, carrying seeds far from their parent trees, depositing them with a dollop of fertilizer, where light and space may tip the odds toward life. A fig ingested at one river bend might be left on a distant ridge. A nut from one grove might sprout in the open under a storm-toppled giant. Over seasons, these winged gardeners stitch forests together, blurring the edges between fragments, helping a broken landscape heal. Many of the seeds they carry are too large for smaller birds. Without the hornbill's wide-throated appetite and long-range travel, the future of these trees would dim. The hornbill's resilience is real, but not limitless. Where forests fall, the big old trees vanish first, the very trees that make nest hollows. Without cavities, breeding pairs fail before they begin. In markets and roadside traps, some birds disappear into cages or into the gears of a trade that never sees the forest they empty. Even so, the oriental pied hornbill is a survivor. It learns new routes above farmland and town, visits the trees that cities preserve, and sometimes reclaims places where it had been silent for decades. In communities that choose to care, people build nest boxes shaped like old tree cavities. They protect the remaining giants, and they keep watch. The hornbills come, inspect, and accept. Chicks fledge again where chainsaws once reigned. Spend enough time under a fig in fruit, and you will see the forest's future arriving, one wing beat at a time. A pair glides in, lands heavily, and begins to feed. Fruits vanish in silver arcs into waiting throats. Between mouthfuls, the birds preen one another, touching bills, reaffirming bonds we can sense but never fully know. Nearby, squirrels argue, barbets drum, and the fig's small wasps spin a story as intricate as any told in wood and leaf. The hornbills lift, loop past the crown twice as if counting, and then push out over the canopy, black and white crescents trailing the morning. There is a humility in watching them. Their lives are not ours, but they depend on choices we make, on where we draw the line between forest and field, on whether we leave the old trees standing long enough for hearts to hollow. In their sealed nests are acts of trust as audacious as any in nature. In their flights across open sky are threads that tie one wild place to another, and in the sapling that rises from their passing, there is proof that the rainforest, given half a chance, remembers how to heal. As day slides toward evening, the jungle exhales again. Heat lifts, clouds bruise purple, and a rhythm settles over the leaves. From far off, a laugh cuts through the hush, one hornbill calling, another answering, a duet across distance. Then the final whoosh of wings and a dark arc between treetops. The oriental pied hornbill does not own this forest, nor rule it. But with every seed carried and every nest sealed, it keeps the rainforest breathing. One fruit, one feather, one faithful return at a time. This is a bird designed for secrecy. Rather than bursting into the open, it prefers to slip between bamboo and rattan, padding quietly over deep leaf litter. When alarmed, it freezes, then runs, swiftly and low, vanishing into cover before taking a short, muscular flight to a low branch to roost out of reach. By night, it sleeps above the ground. By day, it is most active at dawn and late afternoon, when calls carry through the dim forest like breath on glass. The name bicalcaratum, two-spurred, speaks to the male's weaponry. On each leg, two sharp spurs curve backward, used in ritualized disputes and defense. Yet the hallmark feature is display, not combat. In courtship, the male pivots beside a female, tail fanned and tilted like a painted screen, wings partly opened. The ocelli, those iridescent eye spots, flash blue-green as he shivers the plumage in fine vibrations, punctuating the show with soft whistles and a subtle wing whir. The female, smaller and browner with fewer and duller ocelli, watches from the shadows, her camouflage tuned for a life on the forest floor. This species ranges widely but patchily from the foothills of northeastern India across Myanmar into northern and western Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and South China, notably Yunnan. It favors evergreen and semi-evergreen forests with dense understory, often among bamboo thickets and along shaded slopes and ridges. Where forest persists, the grey peacock pheasant follows habitual paths to favoured foraging sites and dust baths, maintaining small home ranges knitted together by familiarity as much as by territory. On the ground, it forages by scratching and probing, turning away leaves to uncover seeds, fallen fruits, tender shoots, termites, ants, beetles, snails, and worms. The diet shifts with the seasons. More fruits when the canopy feeds the forest floor, more invertebrates when rains wake the soil. Much of this goes unseen. What reveals their presence are the signs: fresh, double scratches in the litter, a neat bowl of dust where a bird has bathed, a single iridescent feather caught on low fern. Breeding is timed to local seasons, commonly from late dry into early wet months. The nest is a shallow scrape hidden under dense cover, lined with dry leaves that match the birds perfectly. A typical clutch is 2 eggs, sometimes 1. Incubation lasts about 3 weeks. The chicks hatch precocial, downy, bright-eyed, and on the move within hours. They follow the parent through the maze of stems, learning where to scratch and what to seize, their instinct for stillness as important as their appetite. In many populations, pair bonds are stable, and males contribute by defending space and guarding chicks, even as the female remains the main incubator. The soundscape of the species is understated yet distinctive, clear whistles and soft repeated hoots, often rising slightly in pitch or pace during display. Non-vocal sounds matter too, the hush of a wing whir, the faint rustle of a tail fanning through leaves, signals as much as spectacle in a world where seeing is rare. Field naturalists sometimes confuse this bird with close relatives. Hume's peacock pheasant, for example, shows warmer brown tones and a different arrangement of ocelli and occupies a more restricted range. The grey peacock pheasant's overall ash-grey vermiculation and the dense, round, blue-green eye spots, especially along the long tail, are reliable guides, with geography often sealing the identification. Though still listed as least concern due to its broad distribution, the species' story is tinged with decline. Forest loss and degradation thin the understory it needs. New roads carve access into once remote hills. And the silent threat of wire snares, set for any animal that happens to pass, claims countless ground birds. Fragmentation isolates populations, magnifying edge effects and bringing dogs and people deeper into the last refugees. Yet the bird shows a measured resilience. Where hunting is curbed and the undergrowth remains dense, it persists in selectively logged and older secondary forests, threading its life through the spaces left intact. Conservation here is both practical and precise. Protect and reconnect evergreen and semi-evergreen forests. Keep the understory dense, bamboo, shrubs and leaf litter intact. Remove snares relentlessly and reduce the incentive to set them by supporting local livelihoods. Monitor populations in ways suited to a shy bird. Dawn point counts that log calls, camera traps set along forest trails and ridges, standardized surveys of scratch marks, dust baths, and feathers. Track not only the bird, but the pressures, snare density, new access routes, understory extraction, and let those metrics steer patrols and policy. Where communities are partners, not bystanders, the forests grow safer. Rangers trained from local villages, benefit-sharing agreements, and pride in a bird that few will see but all can claim. Once widespread across the forests and plains of Southeast Asia, from Myanmar and Thailand to Cambodia, Laos and Vietnam, the green peafowl reigned as a symbol of wild majesty. Its haunting call once echoed through bamboo groves and river valleys, a sound that announced the vitality of untouched wilderness. Unlike its more familiar cousin, the Indian peafowl, this species is both subtler and more elusive. Its beauty is woven into the landscape itself, greens blending with leaves, bronzes merging with the earth. The male, with his long iridescent train, performs a courtship dance that has endured for millennia. He fans his feathers in a magnificent display, each eye spot catching the morning light, while his resonant call rolls through the forest. The female, quieter and camouflaged in shades of olive and brown, watches closely. Her choice ensures the survival of the lineage. The green peafowl's world, however, has grown smaller. Forests that once stretched unbroken are now fragmented by farms, roads, and settlements. Poaching for feathers and hunting for food have further driven these birds from their ancestral homes. In many regions, their calls have fallen silent, the echoes replaced by the hum of human expansion. Yet, hope endures. In protected reserves and rewilded landscapes, the green peafowl finds refuge once more. Conservationists work tirelessly to restore their habitat, to guard their nests, and to return their voices to the dawn chorus. With every tree replanted, every sanctuary reclaimed, the balance of nature edges a little closer to renewal. The green peafowl stands as more than a bird of beauty. It is a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even on the edge of extinction, life can find a way back. Its reflection glimmers not only in rivers and rain-wet leaves, but in our own capacity to protect what remains of the wild world. As long as forests breathe and rivers run clear, the green peafowl's song may yet endure, a living thread connecting the past to the promise of tomorrow.